Hello, my dear students. Today, I'm going to share something really important with you: how to start learning English. Now, you might be wondering, why is learning English so important? Well, let me tell you, English is not just another subject you learn in school. It's a key that can open many doors in your life. Let's imagine for a moment. You're traveling to a different country, or you're on the internet, reading interesting articles or watching videos. What language do you think is most commonly used? That's right, English. Whether you're in a new country, talking to people from different parts of the world, or even just browsing online, English is the language that connects us all. Think about your job or your future career. Many companies around the world use English to communicate, no matter where they are. So, learning English can help you get better jobs, meet new people, and make your life easier when you travel or work in different places. Even here in our country, more and more people are using English every day in business, in education, and in social media. Now, I know learning a new language can feel like a big challenge. You might think, English is too hard. But don't worry, we are going to make it easy, step by step. The most important thing is to stay positive. Every new word you learn, every sentence you speak, brings you closer to becoming confident in English. Remember, English is not something you learn overnight. It's like planting a tree. At first, you plant a small seed, and you water it every day. Slowly, that little seed grows into a big, strong tree. In the same way, with a little bit of practice every day, your English will grow and become stronger. And the best part? You're not alone in this journey. I'm here with you, guiding you through each step. So, get ready, and let's start this exciting journey together. By the end of this, you'll feel more confident, and you'll be surprised at how much progress you've made. English is not just a subject, it's a tool for life, and I'm here to help you master it. All right, students, now that we know how important English is, where should we start? The answer is simple. Start with the basics. When we say basics, we're talking about simple words and phrases, things that you can use in your everyday life. Think about when you learned your first language. You didn't start by reading big books or writing long sentences, right? You started by listening to simple words like hello, yes, no, thank you, and goodbye. These are the building blocks of English, and that's exactly where we're going to begin. Let's talk about greetings first. If you meet someone for the first time, you can say hello or hi. These are very simple and friendly ways to start a conversation. You might also want to ask, how are you? Which is a nice way to show that you care about the other person. And how do you reply when someone asks you that? You can say, I'm good, I'm fine, or I'm doing well. These are easy phrases that you can start using today. For example, hello, how are you? Hi, I'm doing well, thank you. See? Just by learning these few words, you already have a conversation. Doesn't that feel good? Now let's add a few more useful phrases to your vocabulary. When someone does something nice for you, what should you say? Thank you, of course. And when someone says thank you to you, you can reply with you're welcome. Let's practice. Thank you for helping me. You're welcome. These small phrases are powerful because they help you connect with others. And the more you practice, the more confident you will feel. Don't worry if you only know a few words right now. It's completely normal. The goal is to use those words as much as possible in your daily life. Speak them out loud, even when you're alone. Imagine you're talking to a friend or practicing in front of the mirror. The more you say them, the easier they will become. Another great way to practice is by using simple questions. If you're in a store, you might want to ask, "How much is this?" Or if you're lost, you can ask, "Where is the bus station?" These are everyday questions that are easy to remember and very useful. Let's look at some examples. How much is this? Where is the bus station? Can you help me? As you can see, you don't need to know hundreds of words to start communicating in English. With just a few basic phrases, you can ask questions, greet people, and have simple conversations. Remember, it's not about being perfect at first. It's about trying. Don't be afraid to speak, even if you make mistakes. Every time you use a new word or phrase, you're improving. And believe me, people will appreciate that you're trying to speak their language. So, what I want you to do is practice speaking every day. Even if it's just one new word or phrase, say it out loud. Use it in a sentence. For example, when you wake up in the morning, you can say, "Good morning." When you go to bed, say, "Good night." These small efforts will make a big difference over time. Remember, the basics are your foundation. Once you're comfortable with these simple words and phrases, you'll be ready to learn more, step by step. And with each new word you learn, you're getting closer to mastering English. Now that we've started with the basics, let's talk about two of the most important skills in learning English: listening and speaking. These are the keys to improving your understanding and becoming more confident when using English. First, let's talk about listening. Listening is one of the best ways to learn a language. When you listen, your brain gets used to how words sound, how sentences are formed, and how people naturally speak. It's like training your ear to recognize the rhythm and flow of English. The more you listen, the more familiar you become with the language, even if you don't understand every single word at first. But here's the secret: you don't have to understand everything to benefit from listening. Just hearing the sounds, the tone, and the way words connect will help you improve. You can start by listening to simple English materials like podcasts, videos, or even songs. For example, you can find podcasts that are made specifically for English learners, where the speakers talk slowly and use simple words. Or, if you enjoy watching movies or TV shows, try watching them in English with subtitles. This way, you can see the words and hear them at the same time. If you prefer something fun, why not listen to English songs? Music is a great way to learn because it sticks in your mind. You can listen to the lyrics, repeat them, and maybe even sing along. It's a fun and easy way to get more familiar with how English sounds. But remember, listening is just one part. You also need to practice speaking. Speaking is the skill that will help you feel more confident in real-life situations. The more you speak, the more natural it will feel. And don't worry about making mistakes. Speaking out loud, even if it's just a few words, is a great way to improve. Now you might be thinking, "But I don't have anyone to speak English with." That's okay. You don't need a partner to practice speaking. You can start by talking to yourself. Yes, you heard me right. Talk to yourself. This might sound funny, but it's actually a great way to practice. For example, when you wake up in the morning, try saying, "Good morning. How are you today?" Imagine you're having a conversation. You can ask yourself questions like, "What do I want to eat for breakfast?" or "What time is it?" Let me give you an example of a simple conversation you can practice by yourself. "Hello, how are you today?" "I'm good, thank you. And you?" "I'm fine. What are you doing today?" "I'm going to study English." See? It's easy and fun, and the more you do it, the more comfortable you will feel speaking in English. If you can, try to add more words to your conversation every day. Start with short sentences and build up over time. You can also practice speaking by reading out loud. Find a short story or article in English and read it out loud to yourself. This will help you get used to how English sounds when you speak it. Don't worry about speaking too quickly or perfectly. The goal is to get comfortable with the sounds and words coming out of your mouth. If you feel ready, you can even record yourself speaking. Use your phone or computer to record a short message or conversation. When you listen to it later, you'll notice where you can improve, and you'll be proud of the progress you've made. Here's a tip. You can combine listening and speaking by repeating what you hear in English. If you're watching a video or listening to a podcast, try to pause and repeat what the speaker says. This helps you improve your pronunciation and speaking rhythm. For example, if the speaker says, "What are you doing today?" pause the video and say it out loud yourself. Practice saying it with the same speed and intonation. Remember, the more you listen and speak, the faster you'll improve. Don't be afraid to make mistakes. Every time you speak, you're getting better. The key is to stay consistent. Try to listen to English every day, even if it's just for a few minutes, and speak out loud as much as you can. Over time, you'll notice that you understand more and feel more confident using English. So, let's keep listening and speaking, and you'll see how much progress you can make. All right, my dear students, we've talked about the basics, and we've focused on listening and speaking. Now let's talk about something really exciting: learning English with fun. Yes, learning a language doesn't have to be boring or difficult. In fact, the more fun you have with it, the faster you'll learn. So, let's explore some fun ways to make English a part of your everyday life. One of the best ways to learn English is through songs. Think about it. How many times have you listened to a song and suddenly found yourself singing along, even if you didn't fully understand the lyrics at first? That's because music helps our brain remember words and phrases more easily. So why not use that to your advantage? Find some English songs that you enjoy. It could be pop songs, rock, or even children's songs, anything that makes you feel good. Listen to the lyrics carefully. Try to understand what the singer is saying and sing along. This way, you're not just learning words, you're learning how to pronounce them correctly while having fun. Here's a great tip. Start with songs that have simple lyrics. For example, songs like "Twinkle, Twinkle, Little Star" or "If You're Happy and You Know It" are easy to follow, and the words are repeated many times. This makes it easier for you to remember them. Once you're comfortable with simpler songs, you can move on to more challenging ones. And the best part? You can sing these songs anytime, anywhere, while you're doing chores, exercising, or just relaxing. It's a fun and effective way to improve your English. Another fantastic way to learn English is by watching movies or TV shows. But here's the key. Don't just watch any movie. Start with ones that are designed for children or beginners. Why? Because the language is simpler and the conversations are slower, which makes it easier for you to understand. For example, cartoons like Peppa Pig or Dora the Explorer are great choices for beginner learners. They use short, clear sentences, and the characters often repeat words, which helps you learn quickly. When you watch these shows, try to focus on the dialogues. Listen carefully to how the characters greet each other, how they ask questions, and how they respond. You'll start to notice that many of the phrases they use are the same ones you can use in real life. Here's another tip. Try watching with subtitles. This way, you can see the words while you hear them, which will help you connect the sounds to their meanings. Over time, you can challenge yourself by turning off the subtitles and just listening. Now, let's talk about games. Who doesn't love games, right? Believe it or not, playing games is an awesome way to learn English. There are many language learning apps and games that make learning feel like playtime. For example, apps like Duolingo or Memrise offer fun challenges where you can earn points and rewards for learning new words and phrases. It's almost like you're competing with yourself to see how much you can learn, and it keeps you motivated. These apps also allow you to practice reading, writing, listening, and speaking all in one place. But it's not just about language apps. You can also play video games that are in English. Many popular games today are in English, and they often have voiceovers or dialogues that you can listen to. While you're playing, you're also learning new words without even realizing it. And because you're focused on the game, the learning feels natural and fun. Here's a fun idea. If you have friends who are also learning English, try playing word games together. Games like Scrabble or Hangman are great for practicing vocabulary. Or you can try creating your own English crossword puzzles. The more you play, the more words you'll learn, and it won't feel like studying at all. Let's not forget about YouTube. There are thousands of videos made specifically for English learners. You can find channels that teach English through storytelling, cooking, travel, and even gaming. The best part? You can choose topics that you're interested in, so learning never feels boring. For example, if you love animals, you can watch documentaries about wildlife in English. If you enjoy cooking, find English cooking tutorials. When you learn something you're already passionate about, it feels less like work and more like a hobby. Here's another creative idea. If you like drawing or art, try following English art tutorials. There are many videos where artists teach you how to draw while speaking in English. This way, you're learning new vocabulary related to art while doing something you love. So, the message here is simple. Make learning English part of your life by doing what you enjoy. Whether it's listening to music, watching movies, playing games, or even following your favorite hobbies, there are so many ways to learn English without feeling like you're studying. Learning should be a joyful experience, and the more fun you have with it, the faster you'll improve. So, go ahead. Find your favorite English song, watch a fun cartoon, or play a word game today. You'll be surprised at how much you can learn when you're having fun. All right, students. We've talked about starting with the basics, focusing on listening and speaking, and learning English with fun. Now let me tell you one of the most important secrets to mastering English. Practice every day. Yes, daily practice is the key to success. You might have heard the saying, practice makes perfect, and in the case of learning English, this couldn't be more true. The more you practice, the more natural the language will feel to you. It doesn't matter if you're just starting or if you already know a few words. The important thing is to stay consistent. You don't need to spend hours studying every day. Even 10 minutes of practice can make a big difference. Think of it like this. If you practice a little bit each day, you're building a strong foundation, and over time, that foundation will become bigger and stronger. On the other hand, if you practice only once in a while, it's like trying to build a house by laying one brick every few weeks. The progress will be slow, and it will take much longer to reach your goal. But when you practice a little bit each day, you'll start seeing results much faster. So how can you practice every day? Let me guide you through a simple daily routine that you can follow, even if you're busy. This routine is designed to fit into your day, no matter how packed your schedule is. Remember, the goal is consistency, not perfection. Let's start. When you wake up in the morning, why not start your day with a little English? The best way to do this is by using greetings. When you wake up, look in the mirror and say to yourself, "Good morning," or "Hello, how are you today?" This might sound simple, but it's a great way to get your brain thinking in English first thing in the morning. If you have a few extra minutes, try reading out loud. Find a short paragraph in English, maybe from a book or even a news article, and read it out loud. Don't worry about reading too fast. Focus on pronunciation and making sure each word is clear. You can even repeat the paragraph a few times to get comfortable with it. This will help you with both speaking and understanding English. During your lunch break or any free time in the middle of the day, you can fit in a little more practice. This is the perfect time to work on listening. If you're eating alone or walking somewhere, listen to an English podcast or watch a short YouTube video in English. It doesn't have to be anything too advanced. Just find something that interests you and listen carefully to the words and phrases. While you listen, try to focus on how the words are pronounced and how the sentences are put together. Even if you don't understand everything, that's okay. Just listening regularly will train your ears to recognize the sounds of English. And if you hear a word you don't know, you can write it down and look it up later. Over time, you'll notice that your understanding of spoken English improves, and you'll start recognizing more and more words. In the evening, when you have a little more time, it's a great opportunity to speak and write in English. Here's a simple exercise you can do. Write about your day. It doesn't have to be long. Just a few sentences will do. For example, you can write something like, "Today, I went to the store and bought some food. Then, I met my friend and we had lunch together. In the evening, I watched a movie." This exercise helps you practice writing in English, and it forces you to think about how to form sentences. Plus, it's a great way to review the new words you've learned during the day. Once you've written your sentences, read them out loud. This helps you practice speaking and reading at the same time. And if you're feeling really confident, try recording yourself speaking. When you listen to the recording later, you can hear where you can improve your pronunciation or fluency. It's a small step that makes a big difference. Finally, Before you go to bed, spend just a few minutes reviewing what you learned during the day. You can quickly go over the new words or phrases you picked up from listening, reading, or speaking. This is a great way to lock that information in your brain, so it's fresh the next day. You can also end your day with a little listening practice. Try listening to a short English story or an audiobook before you fall asleep. You don't need to understand everything. Just let the words flow into your mind as you relax. This will help keep the language fresh in your memory, and it's a great way to end the day with a little English practice. The key to all of this is to make English a part of your daily routine. Think of it like brushing your teeth or eating breakfast. It's something you do every day without thinking about it. The more you do it, the easier it becomes. Even if you only have 5 or 10 minutes, use that time wisely to practice something, whether it's reading a few sentences, listening to a short podcast, or speaking out loud. And remember, you don't need to be perfect. The goal is to keep moving forward. Every time you practice, you're improving, even if it doesn't feel like it right away. It's like planting a seed. You might not see the results immediately, but with time and patience, that seed will grow into something amazing. So, promise yourself this. Every day, no matter how busy you are, spend at least 10 minutes practicing English. It can be as simple as speaking to yourself in the mirror, listening to a song, or writing a short paragraph. If you do this consistently, you'll be amazed at how much you can learn in just a few weeks or months. Let's keep practicing every day, and before you know it, you'll be speaking and understanding English with confidence. Now let's talk about something that many people struggle with when they're learning English, or any new language really. It's something that can hold you back if you let it. But it's also something you absolutely shouldn't be afraid of. What is it? It's making mistakes. Yes, you heard that right. Making mistakes is completely normal, and in fact, it's a big part of the learning process. When you're learning English, you're going to make mistakes. Lots of them. And you know what? That's okay. Every single person who has ever learned English, or any language for that matter, has made mistakes along the way. It's impossible to learn without them. Think about it like this. When you were learning how to walk as a baby, did you fall down sometimes? Of course you did. But did you stop trying to walk because of that? No. You kept getting up, and eventually you learned to walk. Learning English is the same. Mistakes are like the little stumbles that help you grow stronger and more confident. Let me tell you something important. Mistakes are your friends in this journey. Every time you make a mistake, it's an opportunity to learn something new. Maybe you say a word incorrectly, or maybe you forget a grammar rule. When that happens, don't feel embarrassed or upset. Instead, think of it as a chance to improve. When you correct a mistake, you'll remember it better, and you'll be less likely to make the same mistake again. It's all part of the process. One of the biggest reasons people struggle with speaking English is that they're afraid of making mistakes in front of others. Maybe you've felt this way before. You want to speak English, but you worry that if you say something wrong, people will laugh at you or think less of you. But let me tell you, that's not how it works. Nobody expects you to be perfect. In fact, people admire you for trying to learn something new. Think about this. If you meet someone who is learning your native language and they make a mistake, do you laugh at them or criticize them? Of course not. You understand that they're learning, and you might even try to help them. The same is true when you're learning English. Most people are kind and patient when they hear someone trying to speak another language. So, don't hold back because of fear. The more you practice, the more confident you'll become. Remember, learning English is a journey, and every journey has its bumps in the road. Sometimes you'll say the wrong word, or you'll struggle to understand something, but that doesn't mean you're failing. It means you're learning. And with each mistake, you're getting closer to fluency. So, what should you do when you make a mistake? The first thing is to not get discouraged. It's easy to feel frustrated when you don't get something right, but I want you to remember that every mistake is an important step toward success. Here's a little tip. When you make a mistake, don't ignore it. Embrace it. If you're speaking with someone and they correct you, pay close attention to what they say. Maybe they tell you the correct word or the proper way to say something. Take a mental note or even write it down if you can. Then, practice using that word or phrase the correct way until it feels natural. Over time, you'll notice that the mistakes you used to make start to disappear. Let me give you an example. Let's say you're talking to someone and you accidentally say, "He go to the store," instead of "he goes to the store." Someone corrects you, and now you realize that you forgot to add the S for he. Instead of feeling bad about it, use this as a chance to practice. Repeat the correct sentence to yourself several times. He goes to the store. She goes to the store. This way, you're training your brain to remember the right way to say it. Turn your mistakes into lessons. I know that sometimes it feels like learning English is hard, especially when you make mistakes. But here's what I want you to remember. Don't give up. Every time you make a mistake, it's just a sign that you're trying. And the more you try, the better you'll get. Learning a language is not something that happens overnight. It takes time, effort, and patience. But if you keep practicing, keep making mistakes, and keep learning from them, you will improve. Here's a little secret. Even native English speakers make mistakes. That's right. Sometimes people who have spoken English their whole lives mix up words or forget grammar rules. So, if native speakers can make mistakes, it's perfectly okay for you to make them too. The important thing is to keep going. Don't let a small mistake stop you from reaching your goal. I want you to imagine this. You're speaking English with someone, and you make a small mistake. Maybe you say the wrong word or use the wrong tense. What do you think happens next? The other person might correct you, or maybe they won't even notice the mistake. But you know what does happen? You keep the conversation going, you keep speaking, and that's what really matters. Every time you speak English, you're improving, no matter how many mistakes you make. Now let me leave you with a message of encouragement. I believe in you. I know that you have the ability to learn English, and I know that you will succeed if you keep trying. It doesn't matter how many mistakes you make along the way. As long as you don't give up, you're on the path to success. Every time you stumble, every time you get something wrong, remind yourself that you're learning and you're growing. Don't be afraid to try new things, to speak even when you're unsure, and to ask for help when you need it. Learning a language is a journey, and the only way to fail is to stop trying. So the next time you make a mistake, I want you to smile and think, I'm one step closer to mastering English. because it's true. Each mistake is a step forward, not a step back. Remember, you are stronger than your fears, and you are smarter than your mistakes. Keep practicing, keep learning, and never be afraid to make mistakes. You've got this, and I'm here to support you every step of the way. We've come a long way, and now it's time to wrap everything up. Let's take a moment to reflect on everything we've covered so far in this journey of learning English. You've learned that starting with the basics, those simple words and phrases, is the foundation for building your skills. You've seen how important it is to focus on listening and speaking because those two things work hand in hand. You've also discovered that learning English can be fun when you use creative methods like songs, movies, and games. You now understand that practicing every day is the key to making steady progress. And most importantly, you've learned that mistakes are part of the learning process and nothing to be afraid of. All of these steps work together, and each one plays an important role in helping you learn English. But here's the thing I really want you to remember. Learning English is a journey, not a race. It's okay if you don't learn everything all at once. In fact, no one expects you to. The most important thing is that you keep moving forward little by little, one step at a time. Think of learning English like climbing a mountain. At the start, it might seem difficult, and the peak might look far away. You might feel like you have a long way to go, but every small step you take brings you closer to the top. Some days, you might move quickly and learn a lot. Other days, you might only take a small step forward, and that's perfectly fine. Every small step counts. Each time you learn a new word, practice speaking, or even make a mistake, you're moving closer to your goal. Remember the idea of practicing every day? It's so important that I want to mention it again. Even if you only have a few minutes, try to do something in English every single day. Maybe today you learn a new word, and tomorrow you practice saying it in a sentence. Over time, those small efforts will add up, and you'll be surprised at how much progress you've made. Think about it. If you practice just 10 minutes every day for a year, that's over 60 hours of practice. Imagine how much you can learn in that time. The key is to stay consistent, even on days when you don't feel like it. Make English a part of your daily routine, like brushing your teeth or having breakfast. The more you practice, the more natural it will feel, and before you know it, you'll be speaking and understanding English with much more confidence. Now, I want to leave you with a positive message that I hope will inspire you as you continue on this journey. Believe in yourself. Learning English might seem challenging at times, and there will be moments when you feel like you're not making progress fast enough. But I want you to trust the process and trust yourself. Every word you learn, every sentence you speak, and every mistake you make is a step forward. It's easy to feel discouraged when things don't go perfectly. But remember, nobody becomes fluent overnight. Even native English speakers had to start somewhere, just like you. They had to learn one word at a time, just like you. The same is true for anyone who has ever learned English as a second language. It takes time, effort, and a lot of patience, but if you stay dedicated, you will get there. Whenever you feel like giving up, I want you to think about how far you've already come. Think about the first time you learned a word in English. Now look at yourself. You know so much more than you did back then. Every day you're learning something new, and that's something to be proud of. You're on a path to success, and with every small step, you're moving closer to your goal. Another important thing to remember is to focus on progress, not perfection. Sometimes we get so caught up in trying to be perfect that we forget to appreciate the small improvements we've made. But perfection is not the goal. The goal is to keep improving, little by little. It's okay if you make mistakes along the way. What matters is that you're learning from them and getting better every day. So don't worry if you don't understand everything right away. Don't be hard on yourself if you forget a word or make a mistake when speaking. What matters is that you're trying, and as long as you keep trying, you're making progress. Learning English is like building a house. You have to start with a strong foundation, and then you add bricks one by one. With time, that house will stand tall and strong, just like your English skills will. As we come to the end of this lesson, I want you to leave with this thought. Keep moving forward. No matter how small the steps may seem, keep taking them. One day, you'll look back and realize just how far you've come. The journey of learning English might be long, but it's also rewarding. Each new word, phrase, and conversation you master brings you closer to being fluent. And when you reach your goal, all the hard work will be worth it. You are capable of learning English, and you have everything you need to succeed. I believe in you, and I know you can do it. Just take it one step at a time, and before you know it, you'll be having conversations, understanding movies, and reading books in English. It's not a question of if you will get there, as long as you stay determined and keep practicing. Learning English is like planting a tree. At first, you plant the seed, and you might not see anything happen for a while. But as you water it and take care of it, that seed begins to grow. It takes time, but eventually, that small seed turns into a tall, strong tree. The same is true for your English skills. Keep watering them with practice, patience, and persistence, and watch how much you'll grow over time. So, keep going, keep practicing, and never stop learning. I'm here to support you, and I know that you're going to achieve great things with your English. Every small step counts, and each one brings you closer to mastering the language. Keep moving forward, and remember, you're already on the path to success.